Safe to Serve family, first-time viewers, welcome to this midday power surge, your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey. I'm your host, Andrew Henriquez. I have two parts for our lesson today, and please stay tuned as I cover these two parts. Number one, I'll be addressing the Jimmy Kimmel crisis as it relates to he being suspended, that his freedom of speech has been curtailed. And of course, his show is in jeopardy. Now, we know all of this falls in this great drama between Christ and Satan in the great controversy. And many of these folks are actors on the stage in this spiritual battle. But let's be clear, there are eternal consequences. And while there are crises on the left and on the right, we must understand the last target is going to be God's commandment-keeping people. Number two, I will be addressing what Pope Lea XIV just said. This man said, we must rest on the Holy Saturday. It is the seal of God. Beloved, thirdly, I'm going to open up the phone lines and I want you to engage with the content. I do have a question for all of you, and it's going to be a Bible study question. As we can see, the end is right upon us. Shall we begin, my friends? All right. We know that since September 10, 2025, this has been trending, the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I want you all to engage with me in the comment section, those of you who are live. And also trending is what he promoted, and that was the seventh-day Sabbath. And I shared with you since this past Sabbath evening, possibly before, last week when this happened, September 10, 11, all the way through even to yesterday, how you have media on the left, media on the right, both are promoting what Charlie Kirk stood for. He promoted the seventh-day Sabbath. And I rolled several clips to confirm the aforementioned points. Now, thirdly, I want to say this, that Charlie Kirk promoted not Sunday as the biblical day of rest, but he promoted the biblical Sabbath, the seventh day of the week, commonly called Saturday. Now, I've rolled several clips. I will not roll those clips again like the one that is on the screen right now. I want to say this. There are several people who have said, yes, Charlie Kirk did promote the biblical Sabbath, the seventh day of the week, commonly called Saturday. However, while he rested on Saturday, he went to church on Sunday. I have several quick remarks to address that. Then in a subsequent lesson, I'll go further in depth. Number one, regardless, nevertheless, the biblical seventh-day Sabbath has been trending. So what Satan meant for evil, God is bringing good out of it, because people are now inquiring, which day is the biblical Sabbath? Was Charlie Kirk correct? As you can see in our most recent Present Truth brochure, as you can see in the headline, the front page, and in the middle, it covers the 70 biblical scriptures that mention the Sabbath. Very important for evangelism in the last days. And this is what we are now putting forward for aggressive, effective evangelism. My second response to that remark is this. Since you say he kept the biblical Sabbath, yet went to church on Sunday, could it be that's just where his spiritual intelligence was? Because none of us began our spiritual journey at the end goal. We began somewhere. That's where he was in his spiritual journey. That cannot be refuted. Do we not all walk in the light? And the light is progressive? By the way, many of the preachers that shape the foundation of God's remnant church did not possess all the truth. Did not. Because of the dense, thick darkness from which they came forth. Light is progressive. Proverbs chapter 4. The path of the just is as a shining light that shines more and more unto the perfect day. Verse 18, come back here. Thirdly, my third remark is going to be this. Could it be that Charlie Kirk was looking for a Sabbath-keeping church where in the state he resided, Arizona? Could it be he could not find, I'm going to step on some toes now. He could not find a local SDA church to which to attend? Could it be? Although he appeared on a few, maybe 2 or 3, SDA platforms like Wisdom Pearl and others, and that was in the latter end, the latter stages before he was assassinated. Could it be he could not find a local SDA church to attend? Because think about it. How many local SDA churches do you know of? Let's say in Arizona or some other state, where the pastors frequently, consistently present present truth. Current events fulfilling end-time prophecies. Because Charlie Kirk ushers from an arena where they address the cultural degradation in the land, and they're trying to infuse morality, infuse spiritual principles in the debates and controversies. Yet many SDA local churches aren't presenting the issues of the day, aren't presenting the subjects being debated, aren't presenting the controversial issues and instilling biblical principles as the premier solutions. Number 4, to which church could God have entrusted Charlie Kirk? Think about it. Think about it. And that's why some are kept outside of local SDA churches, because many within are unconverted. That's volume 6, Testimonies, page 370, page 371. God doth not now work to bring many in our churches, because many within are in a backsliding condition. I hope that will put that to rest. That so-called remark. Let's continue here, friends. I want to go somewhere else here. I see many comments here, but let me go here right now. Since this has been trending, I believe we have come to a turning point.
I think that
I'm not playing any clips right now. Okay? And I'll play those ad nauseum, not infrequently. All right? Let me come to this. Turning Point USA. I've shared since this past Sabbath, it's on record, that we have come to a turning point in the history of the U.S. as a nation and in the churches. And we're told when these turning points, these events come, the truth for this time must be presented. The light for this time is given. Do you not see the Sabbath controversy with the Sunday controversy? I'll play those clips. I won't keep playing them. But now, somebody has entered the ring. Somebody has entered the debate. Somebody of notoriety have entered the controversy. You may ask who? I'll tell you. It's Pope Leo XIV. Here he is. September 17, 2025. Hear what he said. Watch carefully. About keeping the holy Saturday as the day of rest. September 17. Watch this.
Holy Saturday is also a day of rest. According to the Jewish law, no work is to be done on the 7th day. Indeed, after the 6 days of creation, God rests. Now the Son too, after completing his work of salvation, rests.
What? Did you all hear correctly what this man just said? You mean this Pope, all popes, the papacy, that promotes Sunday, the first day of the week, as the Lord's Day, the Sabbath, is now saying September 17, 2025. Holy Saturday is the Sabbath. Second clip. Watch this.
Today we contemplate the mystery of Holy Saturday, the day of great silence and joyful expectation. Just as God rested after creating the universe, so did the Son rest after completing the work of redemption, having loved us to the end. We too are invited to find quiet and restful moments amidst the frenzy of our daily activity. Our rest in God's presence can renew our spirit and open us to His grace.
I know some of you who hails from a Roman Catholic tradition and background are now scratching your head. What could this Pope mean? Beloved, I'm not going to stay on the surface. Let's take a deep dive. Third clip, then I'll give you my comment. Listen again.
In this regard, may we learn from the Blessed Virgin Mary to embrace the silence and stillness of Holy Saturday, trusting in the Lord without ever losing hope.
So notice, and that, put that date back on there, preacher, so they could see it. Come back here. So friends, you could see clearly that he mentions the Sabbath from creation, and he calls it Saturday from creation. God rested, the Creator rested. Number two, he mentioned Holy Saturday at Christ's death and burial, that the Son, who is Jesus in the context, rested in the tomb at the crucifixion. Notice what he said next in this last clip. He says, we must adhere and learn from so-called Mary to embrace the Holy Saturday. That third clip is important. I'm going to replay it, but hold on. Here's the point. Lest someone says he only mentions Holy Saturday from creation, but he's not calling for it to be kept in 2025. That's one point. Point number two. Lest someone say he's only talking about Holy Saturday from the crucifixion approximately 2,000 years ago, AD 31. And he's not speaking about Holy Saturday for today. Listen to the clip one more time. Listen.
In this regard, may we learn from the Blessed Virgin Mary to embrace the silence and stillness of Holy Saturday, trusting in the Lord without ever losing hope.
Now, friends, I want to interrogate Pope Leo as if we were in the courts. So notice, he says, we must learn from the so-called Mary to embrace the Holy Saturday. That last statement shows you when he's referring to. Not at creation only, not at the crucifixion, but he is promoting it in 2025. I'm going to tell you why that is. Remember, that came out September 17. Now, let's go to the who, what, where, when, why, how, shall we? Okay, who is speaking here? It's obviously the Pope of Rome, who the Bible calls Mr. Antichrist in the primary sense. Secondly, to whom is he speaking? That we must embrace the Holy Saturday. He's speaking to Roman Catholics and non-Roman Catholics. He's talking to the world. When the Pope speaks, he's speaking to the world. All right, what did he just say? the Holy Saturday must be kept as the Sabbath. He just said that in those three clips. From creation, crucifixion, and now in these last days. Number 4, the question is, what has Popery always believed? Look at your screen right here, my friends. Who said in the Converts Catechism of Catholic Doctrine that they have attempted to change, to transfer the solemnity of God's Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, the first day of the week? That is the tradition, the man-made apostate tradition of Roman Catholics since Constantine in the year 321 AD to the present. So what has happened? Why would the Pope make that statement? Why did the previous Pope say in the encyclical? Remember now, this is the encyclical. And they say Sunday is the Lord's day. Sunday is the Sabbath. This is the encyclical, and an encyclical is the highest authoritative document in the Roman Catholic Church. These statements are viewed as being infallible. Let that sink in. Next point. Do you remember when Christ said, "Let no man deceive you"? In Matthew 24, verse 3 through verse 5 and verse 24, let no man deceive you. Let's go to the question, when? When did the Pope make this statement? September 17. Why? Why? That's the question. Because I believe, it's my deduction, it's my opinion, I believe the Pope has heard what has happened to Charlie Kirk. Number 2, he has also heard what has been trending. What Charlie Kirk believed, practiced, and taught is now trending. The Sabbath from creation, Saturday. The Pope all of a sudden is now talking about the Sabbath from creation. Are you seeing this, my friends? Holy Saturday must be kept. September 17. Let that sink in. As a matter of fact, watch this. Hold on. Watch this. Watch this. Next point. Why would the Pope make that statement today in 2025? Because the Pope wants to appear as if he supports both Sabbaths. And that is not coincidental. Notice, the papacy, the Pope calls Sunday the Lord's Day, Sunday the day of rest, Sunday the day of worship, Sunday the Sabbath. And now he's calling Holy Saturday the Sabbath from creation that must be kept today. The Pope is promoting 2 Sabbaths. Those of you who are live in the comment section, when have that ever been done? Where the papacy promoted 2 Sabbaths. Look at your screen. In Great Controversy, page 53, in the time of Constantine, Emperor of Rome, all the way to the rise of the papacy in 538, they promoted 2 Sabbaths. The genuine Sabbath on Saturday, the 7th day of the week, and the counterfeit Sabbath on Sunday, because they wanted to win over the masses. And once they had their proverbial foot in the door, then what happened? They began to suppress the true biblical Sabbath and proportionately exalt the counterfeit apostate Sabbath Sunday by law, and then began to prosecute and persecute true Sabbath keepers on the 7th day, on Saturday. That's it. So we are now seeing what's coming. It's so clear, so clear. That's a statement there. You may pause the video and read that. Next point. Why? Let's come to the question why. Why would Pope Leo XIV make that statement September 17, 2025? I believe It's because of what is trending, Charlie Kirk's statement about the biblical Sabbath that must be kept today, 2025, and the Pope knows the biblical Sabbath cannot be refuted. He knows the biblical Sabbath cannot be refuted as Saturday if you go by the Bible. Have you ever heard the word, if you can't beat them, join them? That's step one. And then overthrow them from within. Trojan horse. That's it. You cannot dispute the biblical Sabbath. Last point, and then I'm going to move on. Let's stay right there on the why. Why would he be promoting such Holy Saturday in these last days? Why? Here it is. Could it be the Pope is weakening the effect and the impact of the everlasting gospel of Revelation chapter 14, specifically verse 9 and verse 10? Watch this. And also chapter 13 of Revelation, verse 11 through verse 18. Here's the point. Imagine when we are preaching, both apostate Protestant America, along with the papacy, will enforce the Sunday law and persecute God's people. The Pope can now say, not us, not me, because we see Sabbath as also the Lord's day. Saturday, I say, is the Sabbath. Do you see it? So when we pass out the truthful literature, when we show them the Sunday law is coming, and popery and the apostate Protestants despise God's seventh-day Sabbath, what will they say? No, we view Saturday also as God's Sabbath is to weaken the effect, the impact of God's everlasting gospel. You passed out the book, Great Controversy. Let's weaken the impact of the statements in this book. You give Bible studies, the coming Sunday law. America, Protestants, apostates, and the papacy. The Pope will say, look, I said on September 17, Saturday is also the Sabbath. You see it, my friends? It's deception, deception, deception from the Antichrist. Look at this. I'm going to give you a juxtaposition between Pope Leo's statement about Holy Saturday with Charlie Kirk's statement about the true Sabbath. Watch as they both mention we must rest on Saturday to combat the frenzy of life, the fast pace of life, no rest, the hurriedness. Watch this.
We struggle to stop and rest. We live as if life were never enough. We rush to produce, to prove ourselves, to keep up. But the gospel teaches us that knowing how to stop is an act of trust that we must learn to perform. And we, on that suspended Sabbath, learn that we do not have to be in a hurry to rise again. First,
you heard those words from Pope Leo XIV. Here are the words now from Charlie Kirk. Listen.
For one day, no contact, no social media, no work, your mental health will improve dramatically. That is a day to go be with God. That is a day to read your Bible and be out of the busyness and the hurriedness and just the anger and the noise of this world. Go back to God's natural rhythm, and it's made our family much tighter knit. And I could be traveling for 5 or 6 days, but if I at least get one good Sabbath with my family, it charges all back up.
Beloved, I'm going to give you now my ace witness, my star witness, to confirm without ambiguity, uncertainty, without doubt. Pope Leo XIV's statement is a deception. Watch this. I just played several clips where he mentioned Holy Saturday, right? I actually did a research. Do you know Holy Saturday, that term, Holy Saturday, based on Catholic teaching, is connected to crucifixion of Christ, Passover, springtime? But he made the statement September 17. Is the month of September springtime? I'm waiting for the response. Is the month of September springtime? So why would the Pope be promoting Holy Saturday during autumn season? We haven't even gotten to winter yet, much less to get to spring. Why? Something is happening in the culture. Something is happening in the world. So he's inserting himself to take the heat off himself and his antichrist church movement. Watch this right here, friends. There it is.
And we, on that suspended Sabbath, learn that we do not have to be in a hurry to rise again. First, we must stay and welcome the silence. Let ourselves be embraced by limitation. At times we seek quick answers, immediate solutions, but God works in depth, in the slow time of trust. The Sabbath of the burial thus becomes the womb from which the strength of an invincible light, that of Easter, can spring forth.
Do you see it? Easter, the Sabbath at the burial. Creation, the burial at the crucifixion, Easter. Why is he making that statement? September 17. Think. Be critical thinkers, as we do here, as Saved to Serve family. Amen to that. Something is going on. He has entered the debate. As we say colloquially in the idiom, I smell the rat. I smell the stink, the stench, the pungent smell. I smell the rat. To be suspicious. Something is fishy. Deception, friends. Here it is. Look at your screen. Words in the red box. In the Catholic tradition, Holy Saturday is a day of solemn anticipation, prayer, profound silence, marking the time Christ's body lay in the tomb after his crucifixion, before his resurrection. And the Pope just said, in September, we must learn from Mary to embrace now Holy Saturday in September. Let that sink in.
In this regard, may we learn from the Blessed Virgin Mary to embrace the silence and stillness of Holy Saturday, trusting in the Lord without ever losing hope.
When must we do that? Now, he's saying. Beloved, the mark of the beast is nigh, when you begin to see, as it was in Constantine time, until Pope rose, 538 AD to 1798, both Sabbaths were uplifted. Later on, one was suppressed, depressed, another, the counterfeit, exalted. Then came persecution. We know history must be repeated. Chapter 1, verse 9 of Ecclesiastes. So what is about to be enforced? The mark of the beast. It's time to implement the 5 keys of survival. Do I hear amen? Watch this. Beloved, the Pope said, the Holy Saturday is the seal of God. That's what he said. Watch this. Listen.
This rest is the seal on the completed task. It is the confirmation that what should have been done has truly been accomplished. It is a repose filled with the hidden presence of the Lord.
Beloved, the Saturday is the seal. Lord have mercy. Yet we have many of our own people debating if the Sabbath is the seal of God. He said the Sabbath at crucifixion, where Christ's rest, is the seal. In the first 3 clips I played, in context, he said, the Sabbath at the crucifixion, where Christ laid in the tomb and rested, is the same Sabbath, Saturday, from creation. Listen. So the Sabbath at crucifixion, he calls it the seal. That means the Sabbath from creation, he's calling it the seal of God. Lord have mercy. And that's why I must hurry